Hi guys, Aka here. So, we want to take a look at Henry IV, the latest Cav general to be released in the game. Apologies, I would have liked to have gotten this video out a bit earlier, but I was under the weather over the weekend, so it got delayed a bit. But here we are now, and yeah, we're going to make it a good video. So, we want to take a look at Henry IV, see what he can do, see how well he stacks up against the other top mounted generals that we have in the game. But before we do that though, just want to remind you guys that the meme competition is up and running. Entries have already started coming in. I've had a look at some of them. Some of them are very funny. They made me laugh. Some of them were like, what the hell were you thinking? Okay. But all in all, good so far. So the prizes are still very much up for grabs. So if you have an idea for a meme, get it done, send it in, and hopefully maybe one of those top prizes will be yours. Now, I'll add the registration link for the meme competition in the description of this video. But if you want to see more details about the competition, check the posts on the channel. I have all the details there and you can see everything that you need to know in there. Okay, let's look at Henry now. So, we've got Henry IV here, and we take a look at his main skill. He gets 55% attack, 40% defense, and 55% HP. And it's important to note that he's a when leading the army general. Okay? So, that's cool. Now, we look at his specialties. And by the time you put everything in his specialties together, Henry IV comes out with a total of 75% attack, 65% defense, and 65% HP. Now we look at his ascension, and by the time we put all the stats in his ascension together, Henry gets 85% attack, 85% defense, and 45% HP. Alrighty. Now, when we put all of his stats together, Henry IV comes out with a total of 215% attack, 190% defense, and 165% HP. Okay, those are very good stats, okay, very impressive stats. Right, now let's put him up against some of the other top generals and see how well he does. So, right here, these are the generals that we're going to be comparing Henry with. And these are their stats. Right, now off the bat, you can see that on the stats, Henry is doing very well. He doesn't have quite the highest attack, but his attack is very good. His defense is the highest, his HP is the highest. So, amongst the generals that we're looking at now, Henry IV is looking very, very decent indeed. Right, now we know that for your mounted march size is an important thing. Okay, so we want to look at the march sizes of these generals. And right here, we have their march sizes. And this is where the opinion of Henry changes a bit. Okay, because as you can see, compared to the generals that we're looking at now, his march size is not particularly great. 18% march size is not bad, but, you know, I mean, just take a look at the other guys. Okay? I think that speaks for itself. So, on the march size front, Henry, not very good. Stats-wise, he's awesome. Okay, so we want to move on and take a look at Henry IV's Covenant. So, we have his Covenant right here, okay? And these are the generals that he needs for his Covenant. I won't exactly say that they're a difficult bunch to get because Champlain, I'm sure a lot of people have him now. Napoleon and Elizabeth might be a bit of a sticking point. For people that have been playing the game for a while, you probably have these generals. So in that case, it's not going to be a problem. As you can see, I have all three. For people that are still fairly new, yeah, these might not be exactly the easiest generals for you to get. So yeah, for some people, Henry's Covenant is going to be pretty easy to do. For some people, they might struggle with it a bit. Okay, so it's neither here nor there. Anyway, so that's it for the Covenant generals. We take a look at the Covenant itself. Pretty standard Covenant, okay? He's got march size in there, which we have factored in. But aside from that, nothing else crazy in the covenant, okay? Looks pretty good, looks like a pretty standard covenant. So yeah, his covenant, all good. Right, now we want to take a look at Henry's compatibility. And as usual, we start with the compatibility with skill books. I've got my Henry right here. And if we go into the skill books, we take a look at it. Okay, we have mounted attack here. We try for mounted attack. Mounted attack is good. Okay, we look for defense. Right, mounted defense is good. Okay, we look at HP. He's good on HP. We check out march size. He's good on march size. So Henry IV can take all the mounted skill books that we have in the game. All right, that's cool. Not a problem. So we want to now go and take a look at Henry's compatibility with other generals. All right, so as usual, we come over here to the wall because it's easier to view this way. Okay, so we've got Henry here, and the first general that we want to check in with is Marco Polo. Okay, Marco Polo is still a favorite in Evony right now, and as you can see, Henry and Marco Polo are compatible. All right, that's good stuff. Now, the next general we want to look at is Washington Prime. And unfortunately, Henry and Washington Prime are not compatible. Okay, so this is a bit of a bummer because Washington Prime is a favorite assistant general that a lot of people use. And since they're not compatible, yeah, that might be a bit of an issue for some people. But anyway, it is what it is. Right, now the next general that we have here, Chen Yaojing, and Henry and Chen Yaojing are compatible. All right, good stuff. We move on. We have Louis XIV, a fairly new general, pretty good general, and as you can see, Henry and Louis are compatible. Okay, good stuff. Next, we check him out with Motonari, okay, and we can see Henry and Motonari are compatible. That's great. Finally, we check Henry with Olav, and as you can see, Henry and Olav are compatible. Right, so with probably a few key exceptions, Henry IV has pretty decent compatibility. Now, as usual, if you know of any key generals that he's compatible with or not compatible with, please feel free to drop them down in the comments. It's always appreciated. Thank you very much. Right, so we've looked at Henry as the main general. Now, let's take a look at how he does as the assistant. So, these are the stats for the assistants that we have right here. At first glance, stats alone, Henry is doing pretty good as an assistant. If you look at everything in total, amongst the assistants, he probably has the best stats in the game. The issue comes in when you're looking at march size. And as you can see, for march size, yeah, he's not doing pretty great. 10% march size is okay, but compared to some of the other assistants that we have, yeah, it's not particularly great. So there are quite a few better options to use as an assistant other than Henry. If he's the only one that you've got, fine, you can use him, but there are a lot of other options. Okay, so we've taken a good look at Henry. Now, I'll give you my honest opinion, as I always do. And if I had to rate this general, I'd give him a B+. His stats are very good, okay? His buffs, percentages, everything looks great. In fact, it's one of the highest, if not the highest in the game right now. The problem is his march size. And some of you might be looking at that and be like, Aka, hang on. You've reviewed other generals that had good stats but not particularly great march size, and you still gave them at least an A. So why are you giving this guy a B+? Well, the reason for that is because of how lacking his march size is compared to a lot of the other generals. Now, you might have noticed this when we were comparing Henry to the other generals, but as a matter of fact, with the exception of two generals, Henry IV has the lowest march size out of all the recent mounted generals that have been released. And we've had quite a few. The two generals whose march sizes are lower than Henry's are Artemis, that has 5%, and the Mustache, that has 8%. So think about that for a second. Those are the only two generals that have lower march sizes than Henry IV. Every other recently released mounted general has significantly higher march size than Henry. So that's the main reason behind my verdict. As a PvP mounted general, Henry IV gets a B+. All right? I'm just calling it as it is. But note, I'm making a distinction there when I say as a PvP mounted general. Now, you might remember that Henry IV is a when leading the army general, which means that you can use him on your wall. And as a PvP wall general, Henry IV gets an A+. Straight up, no questions about it. If you're using this guy on your wall and you need a mounted general, this guy is awesome. Okay? Arguably the best general to use on your wall for mounted troops at this particular point in time. And an added benefit that Henry gets if you use him on the wall is that his base stats are pretty good. Okay? He's got pretty decent base stats. And if you use him on your wall, that will apply for all of your troops. So, if that's something that you're looking for and something you're interested in, Henry IV is your go-to right now. However, if you are going to use him on the wall, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. And that is that some of his stats will not apply on the wall. Okay? Take, for example, his ascension. We look at that 4th ascension right there. Attacking ground and mounted troop attack and defense 25%. That will not apply on the wall because it's an attacking buff. So we keep that in mind. If you're using him on the wall, you will not get that in your ascension. Likewise, we look at his covenant and we can see that in the covenant, like this one right here, okay? You've got attacking mounted troop HP 10%. That will not apply on the wall. You've got in rally mounted troop HP. That will not apply on the wall, but it will apply to your PvP mounted march. Okay, so, it's neither here nor there. Right, and we look at the final covenant, attacking mounted troop attack. That will not apply if you're using him on the wall. But all in all, even with those things, Henry IV as a wall general for mounted troops still gets the A+. Now, if you wanted to check out other reviews of mounted generals, I have a video right here. You can check it out. And also, once again, remember the meme competition. Get your memes cracking, send them in. That's it from me, guys. Thank you very much. Aka signing out.